Hello, this is Douglas Robinson. I am a solutions consultant with Beyond 20. Today we'll be reviewing a new feature in Cherwell version 8.2.0, which is how to branch OneSteps. And in order for me to show you that, I'm going to have to open a OneStep. So I can do that either in the orange or the administrator tool, or I can do that in the client tool by going to the OneStep manager in either one. For this video, I'm going to do so within a blueprint. So I'm going to open up a new blueprint from the blueprint section on the administrator screen, and then go to the managers menu up at the top and select OneStep. Now I'll get the OneStep manager window and I can create a new OneStep. I'm going to go ahead and create a new OneStep for incident under the global folder under the incident association. Of course, we still get the create a new OneStep box that asks us for a name and description. This is a test OneStep for Cherwell version 8.2.0. You'll notice I actually spent some time writing out a description for this OneStep. That's a good habit for you to get into. And it looks like I already have a OneStep labeled test somewhere in this system. Alright, once you've created your new OneStep, you'll be able to see the common actions that are now available on the left side of the screen. Now these will be mostly the same as they have been in previous versions. However, you may notice there is a new action under the advanced actions portion of the list, which is decide between multiple cases. I'm going to go ahead and drag this onto our main designer area. And we'll see that suddenly I have a split into two different branches that I can drag actions onto. And on the editor screen for this decide between multiple cases action, I get a name for this action because you always get to name your steps. And then we have a case 1, which is going to be this top branch, and a default case, which is going to be the very bottom branch. Now, what's interesting here is it is laid out just like a case expression, which is something that you might expect if you were going to have many different OneStep actions all executing based on a single condition. You would want it to be very similar to a case statement. So, our first case, we have to edit it to define an expression. You actually won't be able to save your OneStep until you've defined at least one expression for your first case. This is going to be a logical expression, so you need to either define a custom logical expression or select a stored expression from the system that will return a logical value. I'm going to go ahead and fill in a condition here and say that if current system equals dev, then perform an action. And now I have my first case, and I can define as many other actions under this first branch as I want. I can go ahead and update business objects or display some pop-ups. And now that I've added something to case number 1, I also get the option for case number 2. So that if I need to, I can immediately start working with a second case in this case expression. And I don't have to go in and manually add a second case. And once I add something to case number 2, it will also create case number 3 for me. Now you will need to go back and fill out those expressions, but this should make it a lot easier to build out your OneStep actions, especially when you're using this branching functionality. Now, once it's created these cases for you, it's not going to remove them automatically once you're no longer using them. So if you have a case statement here that you no longer need, you can go in and you can remove it. Or also, if you have several actions that you've defined for one condition that you need to move into a separate branch that are also going to be true for a separate condition, you can easily clone the currently selected branch into a new case statement. We can see that it has perfectly duplicated our updated business object action and our show a pop-up action. And that is essentially all that we have for decide between multiple cases. It does not currently look like there is a limit on the number of cases that you can have on this expression. So it looks like you can essentially just go wild with it and easily create some very, very complex workflows within your OneSteps. And that should make it a lot easier to organize the different actions that you have. Occasionally, sometimes in the past, you may have been organized, or you may have been developing your OneSteps to have several actions in a line, to have the same action condition applied to them, and then have other actions that would run based on other action conditions. And this wasn't a very well-defined process for getting actions to run. So now that we have this decide between multiple cases functionality, we can start using branches in this OneStep editor, which really makes sense given that we have a visual editor here. Also, while we're on the topic of branching, I'd like to bring up that you can do a similar thing within automation processes, and this is going to be a feature that's not exclusive to 8.2.0. This one you can do on, I believe, any version of Cherwell that you might have. We've been able to test this as far back as, I believe, 4.6. If you edit an automation process, a visual automation process, you can actually branch these items as well. However, the difference is going to be branching within a OneStep is going to be based on multiple different conditions. Branching in an automation process will only make the automation process run multiple actions simultaneously. So if I want to, I can add in a second wait or a second action, which will be a wait for time event. And then when this automation process fires, it's going to run this OneStep, and at the same time, it's going to start waiting for a specified time. Or I could have it run that OneStep, wait for a time for another action, and run another OneStep. And what happens when you do this is you can have many different workflows running at the same time within a single automation process. And when you do that, you get multiple different lines in your automation process log when you go to a record and you view the current record automation processes. Also, a fun note, if you do an automation process this way and one of these branches fails, the other ones will continue to execute and your entire workflow will not fail. Only the branch or the line of activities that has an action in it that has failed will completely fail if you have your automation process set up to run multiple different activities simultaneously instead of placing them one after another in a line. This has been an instructional video. If you'd like to see other videos like this one, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/beyond20llc. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you have anything to say that's not relevant to this video, feel free to tweet it out to us at our Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @beyond20.